Mojubak Bokboy Gungun, Ashe Ariku Babawa, which means we pay homage to all of our ancestors. We give strength and power to our ancestors, and they do that through us. We continue on the great work that they did today, and we use water because all of y'all agree on water if you don't agree on nothing else. So I'm glad we're unveiling this so that everybody can see the beauty that I got to see when I was a young lad walking up and down these streets in Midtown. Thank y'all.
This is Wisconsin State Assemblyman Supreme Moore Omakunde pouring libation at a ceremony commemorating Milwaukee's Misericordia Hospital, the first and only Black-owned hospital in Wisconsin. Lynden Hill is a historic park and green space in the Midtown neighborhood of Milwaukee, and the Lynden Historic Landmark ceremony was a tribute to and acknowledgement of a story that most people don't know.
60 years ago, this was the site of Wisconsin's first and only Black-owned hospital, Misericordia Community Hospital, an opportunity for Black patients, Black staff, Black doctors to interact with one another, to get, for patients, for residents, to get care that they may not have received in other places, as well as for people to work when in a lot of other hospitals still at that time, there was discrimination, segregation. They may not have been able to get jobs. And so what an opportunity for people to be able to practice medicine, practice their skills, and support their community.
It's a story that might have been lost in history had it not been for Jim Alstead, an author and community historian pursuing his PhD at UW-Milwaukee. One of his professors took his class on a walking history tour of the neighborhood.
I need to start by praising Dr. Sen for being an inspiring professor who dares to go out into communities and put boots on the ground practicing public history, not just reading about it. And that's how I got here. Dr. Sen's local historical methods class did a community walk in Midtown with Megan and Haney Smith in September of 23. And when we visited Lynden Hill Park, I immediately wanted to know more about its history, where the old hospital was located, how big it was. The site combined my interest in place-based histories with my interest in landscapes.
That started a 3-year process in collaboration that resulted in a William G. Pomeroy grant for underrepresented communities.
So right behind me, there used to be a huge hospital. I mean a big 7-story, 260-bed hospital with multiple side wings that took up most of the block. And there's a plaque on the boulder that summarizes the history of Lynden Hill, and it doesn't mention anything about Misericordia Community Hospital or that it was a Black hospital from 1969 to 1977. How can it be the former site of the first and only African-American owned and operated hospital in Wisconsin, in a predominantly African-American neighborhood, in a historic neighborhood where the civil rights movement played out through the 1960s, was forgotten? Right here, civil rights leaders led marches, Lloyd Barbie, Vel Phillips, Father Garapi, thousands of people and youth marching for equality and fair housing for 200 consecutive nights in 1967 and 1968. And then 3 African-American doctors bought this hospital in 1969, and there's no history of it anywhere until now.
The hospital was originally founded by the Sisters of Misericordia, a Catholic group of nuns whose mission was to provide compassionate medical and spiritual care to unwed mothers, vulnerable women, and children. The hospital opened in Milwaukee 1908 on land owned by Bishop Sebastian Mesmer.
In the 1920s, the sisters had to expand the hospital. More additions were done in the 1930s, and finally, a huge 7-story addition was built in 1952. By which time the hospital complex and mansion took up most of the block. As the hospital expanded over the years, it continued to evolve as a place of social justice as it transitioned to a general hospital, and then a non-sectarian hospital, and finally by the 1950s it became one of Milwaukee's first integrated hospitals because it hired African-American nurses. However, this history has also revealed that just because the hospital was integrated doesn't mean the nurses were treated well. In 1969, the sisters closed Misericordia and relocated to the suburbs, reopening as Elmbrook Hospital in Brookfield, which is now Ascension Healthcare.
In 1969, after the Sisters of Misericordia relocated, Black physicians Dr. Louis T. Maxey Sr., Dr. John Terry, and Dr. John Bryant purchased the original Milwaukee facility. They reopened it as Misericordia Community Hospital, marking it as Wisconsin's first state-licensed nonprofit general hospital owned and operated by African Americans.
The doctors that honestly, they didn't even have to do this. Like they had their own private practices. They had their own credentials. They got together because they saw that there was a need in the community, and they got together and they provided services for this community so they can uplift us.
Anita Baker was a nurse at the hospital from 1971 to 1973.
Whenever I asked someone, did they know anything about Misericordia Hospital, I was really upset because many of the people that I asked, did they know about anything about Misericordia Hospital, they didn't know there was such a hospital. And I was totally upset because I worked there. I worked third shift. I worked with Dr. Terry. I worked with Dr. Atkinson. I worked with Dr. Maxwell. We were family. We were actually real family.
What's important about being taken care of by a doctor that looks like you?
Because he understands. He won't just say, okay, you'll feel better in the morning. He will actually look into it and say, well, what did you eat today? I mean, he'll actually try to get into it and see what's going on.
1, 2, 3, Misericordia! Woo!
This historical marker is going to outlive us. And I'm just a messenger, you know. I grew up, I was born in 1984. The hospital was already demolished by the time I was born. So I wasn't in that lifetime. But for me to, personally, for me to be able to connect with like-minded people that wanted to unearth this rich history, this rich African-American history in this urban community, is very, very, very powerful, and I'm very thankful for it.